Hey, today we review the Agama A215e, pure electric. Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to do a review on my Agama A215e. Let's head over to the bench, I'll get the body off, and I'll show you guys my personal race car. Okay, this is my freshly built Agama A215e. Let's get the body clips off of here. I heard a lot of people saying they didn't really like the body, but I really like the smooth lines of the body. I wish the windshield was a little bit more even with the side windows, but overall, I really like the shape of the body itself. Reminds me a lot of the original Losi 2.0, or the old Losi 2.0. I guess to start out, you'll see we get an Expert SN5401 steering servo, Tiken RX8 Generation 2 Speedo, and this is a Tiken T8 1900 kV motor, and I've got a Reedy 4700 milliamp LiPo in here. And so this is my car. It's built right out of the box. You can see that it actually comes with these tires. These are tires that it actually comes with right in the box. And it comes with this Lexan wing right in the box, which is pretty nice. So that's my race car. Let's go ahead and get on with the review. Okay, so that's it. You guys got to see exactly what I used in the build-up for the Agama e-Buggy. Before we get on with the review and get into the build, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick update. I really wanted to get this review out to you guys way sooner. I've actually had this kit for months, but I just ended up having a whole bunch of hurdles, both personal and with the kit and stuff like that. I shouldn't say the kit, but the closest dedicated 8-scale track to my house is 2.5 hours away. So we actually took it down to run at Hot Rod, and I ended up having some gremlins going on with the electronics. I really wasn't sure. So we ended up having to pull the electronics and put all the electronics from my personal race car in here. On top of that, business has obviously been pretty busy at raw speed. We've had some other videos that were kind of in progress before this one. The Worlds went down, and last but not least, I had spine surgery a while back, and we thought everything was dialed, but it isn't. I'm actually heading back to the spine surgeon, so I've kind of been having some health issues, ups and downs. I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't want to bore you guys with my issues, but those are a variety of reasons that have kind of held this review up. So probably the biggest one, to be honest with you, is just the fact that the closest dedicated 8-scale track is so far away. It just makes it really, really tough. With my 10-scale reviews, I'm 7 minutes from my home track. I build the kit, I go run it. I can come home and eat lunch in the middle of the review if I really want to. So anyways, that's it. Let's get on with the build. The build. Let's talk quickly about the build for the Agama. The manual was pretty good. I wish it would have had one-to-one diagrams for some of the screws and washers and things like that, but the overall packaging of the product, the fit and finish, the quality of the kit was actually really nice. It feels, you can tell when you're building this car that it is straight up, it is inspired by the TLR car. Now, it's not like a direct duplication or anything like that, but in the front towers, in the way that the diffs fit in the rear diff, the way the teeth actually face outward, all very kind of like TLR-esque. The kit calls for 5,000 weight diff oil, and I want to say 45 and 40 for the shocks. They don't actually give you the oils, but I just went ahead and used associated oils. And overall, I thought the build went really well. I thought the fit and finish was nice. There were a lot of nice touches when you're actually assembling this car. Like these shims that go over the outdrives had this real super thin little rubber O-ring, which I'm willing to bet probably seals the diffs from like dust and stuff like that from getting contaminated. So overall, I thought the build was really good. Like I said, the manual was good. The illustrations, the diagrams were good. One little thing you're going to want to notice is that they don't really tell you the size of screw, but in the part number that's in the manual, you'll see that it's like a 308 or something like that, or a 310, and obviously that just means a 3mm by 10mm or 3mm by 8mm screw. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but there are a few spots in the manual that probably could have been explained a little bit better. But I guess if I had to take the one-to-one diagrams over really good illustrations, I'd probably take the really good illustrations. So overall, build was pretty darn good. Let's talk performance. The A215e actually performed what I would say pretty darn good. Now it comes with a pretty heavy shock package, and let me just show you guys this. I know that the camera's not going to pick this up flawlessly, but just to give you an idea. So if you were to pull this thing up, it's pretty heavy right out of the box. Using the oils that they recommend, it's actually a pretty heavy shock package, which made for a really smooth sliding car and stuff like that. The jumping and landing I thought was actually really good. There were a few guys, I put a teaser video up on Facebook or YouTube or something like that, and a couple guys were like, oh, that thing doesn't land very good. And let me show you what they're talking about. You can see when I come over this double that the car does this little bounce, this little one-hop thing. The face of that double is easily 3 feet tall. So this car could easily be 6, 7, 8 feet up in the air. And if you miss the downside, which isn't that long, you're basically flat landing a car from 6, 7 feet up. I mean, I don't know of an 8-scale on the planet that's actually not going to bottom out, even when it's pretty heavy, even when it has a pretty heavy shock package just like this car. But if you watch this clip and you see me land this double right here, this is a big double at the front in Thunder Alley. You see the car just lands and it's like butter. It just you almost can't even tell when the car lands. It's so smooth. So I honestly think the car jumps and lands really, really well. No question about it. The shock package that I had in it was probably a little bit heavy for a really bumpy track. So if I were gonna go back and race it again, I'd probably soften up the shock package. I'd probably head down to like maybe 40, 35. I'd go down at least 5 weight right off the rip. But overall, I was impressed with the way the car jumped and landed right out of the box. When it comes to cornering, I actually thought the car was pretty good. It really enters in a very stable, consistent manner. Like, it's definitely not, you could absolutely, if you can pull the hammer down and fly into a corner, yank the wheel, and it turns in a very predictable, consistent, very consistent manner. But when you're exiting, I found that the car, even with the diff oils that are in it, it's a little bit touch and go. You kind of have to pedal the car. You kind of have to be gentle rolling into it, especially if you have a lot of horsepower. I tend to run the Tekin electronics, and they just make gobs of horsepower. So I had to be a little bit careful. I'm sure that with setup, I could have made the car absolutely super dialed and stuck. But with what I used right out of the box, if I had to change anything, I would have went to lighter oil in the rear and probably a longer link right off the rip just to get that thing hooked up just a little bit more. But overall, I thought corner entry was really good. Exiting was a little sketchy just because even when it was damp, the car was it just had so much horsepower. I really wanted to overwhelm the rear end. And of course, like I said, that's all setup. I'm not blaming the car. I've told you guys this before. I build these cars out of the box. I usually use the kit setups. When it's 10 scale and the track's 7 minutes from my house, I can play with setups all day long. But when I have to spend 2.5 hours each way in the car to get to a track, I just don't have the time to be able to chase the setup all day. So it's really more important for me to build the car, run the car, get an impression of it. I've actually driven other Agama cars that are super dialed and super stuck. And so who knows, maybe in the future, maybe I'll actually find another car that has a killer setup on it, and maybe I'll just start doing that. It's hard to say. I'm really not sure. But these 8 scale reviews, I love doing them because I love running 8 scale. But it just tends to be a tremendous amount of work to get this final product out to you guys. So anyway, so that's it for cornering. The entry was really good. Exit was okay. When it was damp and you were really gentle and smooth on the throttle, the car was really predictable. But it definitely, if you yanked the throttle just a little bit too much, you found the car walking around. And acceleration and braking. I don't have to tell you this. If you've ever driven a 4S powered e-buggy, you know that these things have acceleration for days, braking for days. So of course, acceleration and braking were awesome. Okay, let's talk durability. When you're driving a 10 scale car, we all know that sooner or later we're gonna break a 10 scale car. But when you go out and you have these big jumps on these 8 scale cars, you really don't want an 8 scale car that's gonna break. And I will tell you right now that this car is pretty darn durable. I can't tell you that it's the most durable because I haven't driven every car, but I can tell you that there's some compliance in the arms. I had some serious cartwheels, some seriously not pretty lawn dart style landings from really big jumps, and the car is still in one piece, and nothing seems to be damaged, nothing seemed to really take a bad hit. So overall, I can't tell you exactly how durable it is, but in my opinion, it's durable, and I'm pretty impressed with the durability so far. It's time for the value spiel, right? Okay, you guys, value. You guys know that I really feel like there are two sides to value. There's the metal and the plastic. There's what you get in the box when you actually spend the money. And then there's kind of like the global team, support, driver network, all that kind of stuff. At $499, this car is an amazing value for what you get in the box. I mean, I would argue that it may be the very best value for what you get in the box, considering the quality of the plastics and the shocks and the metals and all that stuff. Not only that, but this car actually comes, as you saw in the unboxing. If you haven't seen the unboxing, I'll link it right here. This car actually comes with some tires. We tried them. They were a little bit hard on the surfaces we were on. But still, the bottom line is the car comes with a Lexan wing. It comes with wheels and tires. That alone is like another $80, maybe even more if you actually add all that stuff up. So when it comes to the metal and plastic, I think for the quality of the model, for the amount of money that you spend, I think that it's almost unbeatable at $499. So that's one side of the coin. The other side is like the team and driver and support network. Now here in California, Agama hasn't really taken off. I know that down in Texas, down in the Midwest, or over in the Midwest, Illinois, you know, those areas, I know it's getting more and more popular, but I still think that it has work to do. 8 scale is a little different than 10 scale. You don't always see all the stuff being stocked in hobby shops. The 8 scale community tends to kind of bring their parts with them. It's a bunch of guys that go racing and have their own stuff. Not to mention that most 8 scale tracks where I go to don't even have a hobby shop. There are rare exceptions like Revelation Raceway. Of course, guys over there at Thunder Alley have a small C-can and they keep some stuff around, you know, tires, arms, things like that. But there are a lot of 8 scale tracks that have no hobby shop whatsoever. And so it's hard. I'm kind of torn on this. The value for what you get in the box and the money and what you pay for is awesome. The driver network and stuff like that, I think they're working on it. So I would say the value is great on one side and it's okay on the other. So I guess that'll about do it for value. Okay, let's talk conclusion for the Agama A215e. I think it's a really nice kit. I think it was packaged well. I think there's a lot of value for what you pay for when you plop down your cash or swipe your credit card. They're growing their team, which is pretty cool. And overall, I think it's a solid product. I will tell you that if you're a racer in any area, I'm gonna give you the same advice in this video that I've given in basically every video I've ever done when it comes to kit reviews. I want you to choose the car that's right for you, but I also want you to choose a kit that is supported in your area, especially an 8-scale kit where when you go racing, there are a lot of times are not hobby shops on site. Nothing would suck worse than to take this car out, smash the front shock tower or just some oddball part that you can't get, and then your day is done when you're hours from home and spent tons of money to go do it. So the car is good, but I always would encourage you to run cars that are supported locally. If that means you and a buddy both have to buy one and some spare parts, that way you guys can share when you go racing, make it happen. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. I wish I would have had more time to kind of chase a better setup. I don't know if you guys know Darren Bloomfield. I hope you do, because Darren is a super nice guy, and he's the factory pro driver for Agama. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some running footage of this car, and then when you see a nitro car that's actually running out on the World's track in Las Vegas from this year, 2016, that'll be Darren Bloomfield doing some work with his Agama A215 nitro buggy. So anyways, that's the conclusion, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this review just as much as I enjoyed making it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Okay, we're here at High Rod Hobbies. We're doing some running footage for the Agama review. Let's do some laps. Timing that triple's a little tricky, huh? Is he doing wheelies over there?
option up onto the J Concepts Terra style. So it looks like a lot of cars fighting handling. The track is super dry. And everybody coming up knows that the track, with maybe the exception of the final, the track's going to be dry about 95% of their run, so they got to make their tire corrections accordingly. Deal with the looseness on the wet track the first couple of minutes, but the last 25 minutes or so of each race, pretty much all day, will be like to see here. With the heat of the day here in Las Vegas, no way to keep water on all day long. All right, about 45 seconds away from the halfway point of this one. Looks like Taylor Peterson coming in for a stop, going to give up that fourth spot. Oh, runner to the back, runner to the back, runner to the back, runner to the back, runner to the back. Over here, on the side, Lee. Straight across Tennessee, runner coming your way. From the Otto, Matt McCurry with the flame out there.
I just want to say thanks again for watching my videos. I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'd be doing me a huge favor if you could either like, comment, or even better, subscribe. I post a lot of stuff on social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. So if you want to catch up with me, I'll post this stuff up for you. And you can come on over, add me as a friend, follow me on Instagram, and you'll be able to see things that just don't make it to YouTube. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.